I can't believe they ended the Game Awards with this. This was the big announcement to end the show off with. A freaking multiplayer hero shooter in the year 2025. Have we learned nothing? The people crave Titanfall 3. So let's say the game comes from the creators of Apex Legends and Titanfall, but it'll look and feel nothing like that. Today we're talking about Highguard, people, but the problems currently facing Highguard and the negative feedback this game is getting right now, well, it's not just because of Highguard. Hello, everybody. It's your boy Jmulls, and we have a lot to talk about.
Into lands uncharted.
In a show that contained the announcement for a new Star Wars The Old Republic game, for a new Larian RPG called Divinity that is supposedly bigger and better than even Baldur's Gate 3, the final game of the show, well, it's safe to say people were looking forward to it. What could they announce to top everything that had come before? Well, that didn't happen. They announced another hero shooter called Highguard by Wildlight Entertainment. And fair play to them, there are a couple of interesting ideas here, like riding around on horses, giant siege weaponry, but the moment that it clicked, not just in my mind, but for a lot of other people as well, that it was just another hero shooter, all bets are off. Many people, including myself, just immediately lost interest. You can actually go back and watch my reaction to them announcing Highguard. I was in genuine disbelief because I thought I was missing something, because it didn't make sense in my mind. It wouldn't register that the final game they would show and reveal was just another hero shooter. I thought there was something more to it, something that I wasn't seeing or they hadn't announced yet. But no, it was just another hero shooter. And it's another prime example of why I have distanced myself from the modern multiplayer scene. It's so tiring. I come from the glory years, the golden age if you will, the mid to late 2000s and early 2010s, when we had banger after banger. Halo and Call of Duty were on top. We had great multiplayer experiences that were well paced, you were well rewarded, and they were just a fun time. And now what we have? An industry hell-bent on chasing after the same sins that led to the decline of that golden era, chasing after the top dogs in the industry, relentlessly, without cessation and without breath. So many developers, so many games out there desperately want to be Overwatch. They desperately want to be Marvel Rivals, but they don't have the sway of Overwatch at launch, specifically. That game fell off, and they most definitely do not have the brand recognition and update structure of Marvel Rivals. But they chase after these games trying to be what those games already mastered, and then they fail to do so, or they just aren't different enough. They just feel like more of the same, and why would I play just a knockoff when I can go play the original? And people wonder why people collectively point and laugh at people that try to argue that a multiplayer game should win Game of the Year in 2025. Occasionally, we still get a cool banger, but the rod has creeped and seeped itself into the skeletal foundation of this industry. I am personally so tired of hero shooters. There are two labels a game can have where I just immediately check out of it, where I just stop caring. No matter what you do or what you claim to be, I no longer have any hope for your existence. That is extraction shooter and hero shooter. I am so sick and tired of everything trying to be like that. Sorry, there's a third one, Battle Royale. The moment I see a multiplayer game be free to play, I also just mentally clocked out. And for the exact same reasons, I knew Halo Infinite was cooked to begin with. Because what it always means, and you know deep down in your heart of hearts that I'm correct on this, when you see a game be free to play, that means the cosmetic progression systems that these games used to have back in the day are going to be ripped out to sold back to you piecemeal in some bastardized monetization practice meant to exsanguinate your wallet of every cent you can possibly have. An interesting progression loop? Let's throw that out the window for a linear, on-rails experience like a battle pass. Oh, but guys, it's better than a loot box that we had in the middle 2010s. That is not a positive. Being slightly better than the worst thing imaginable in this industry is not some kind of medal that you should be proud of. It's not like winning second place in a beauty pageant. You were cut from the casting call. And this is the biggest reason I've just completely moved away from modern multiplayer games. They become so hyper repetitive and boring and stale and stagnant. And they all all look the freaking same to me. I do not know what it is about games that come from groups of developers, particularly ones that are multiplayer, where you have groups of developers that come from these large established publishers, they break off to make their own game, and I don't know what it is, they all look the same to me. It's like this slightly cartoony style, but it tries to be realistic at the same point in time, and the spell effects and some texture work look the freaking same to me, where it's like kinda low res compared to other things, or just a little bit too smooth than others. Not to mention that hero shooters as a concept bore me to tears. I just want a regular multiplayer shooter. I don't want to play as some warden or champion or whatever they want to name their players to create some kind of weird attachment with their players. I don't want to play as that. I don't want these weird and unique abilities that look cool in a trailer but become hyper monotonous in gameplay. I don't want the focus to be on mastering the champion that I'm playing as instead of the actual raw gunplay. And I don't care about the balance there, or if the emphasis is on the gunplay. I want it to be all on the gunplay. I think this is one of the reasons something like Battlefield 6 does as well as it has been doing and did on launch, because at first this stuff was new. It's like I was excited by Overwatch back in the day because it was kind of somewhat new. Ignore Team Fortress 2, but it was new to me and it was exciting, it was fresh, it was cool. We had just been through an era where like every shooter was another shade of brown trying to rip off Call of Duty. Now you have something big and colorful. It was a breath of fresh air, but now everything tries to be like that, so we run into the exact same problem as we did the end of the golden era, where this industry just cannot help itself, no matter what it is, big or small, all roads lead to just trying to copy the homework of the biggest and best in the industry right now. And for hero shooters, that's Marvel Rivals and Overwatch. For Battle Royales, that's Fortnite. There's another element to a lot of modern shooters that I just can't stand. It's such a put-off for me. Their inability to take anything seriously, or this innate desire to be like overly cartoony and colorful. It's like, I want some seriousness, or at least I want the game to take itself seriously. I don't want it to look like a color book come to life. I want a bunch of soldiers fighting it out, whether that's in a sci-fi setting, a modern setting, World War I, whatever. I want the world to at least take itself seriously again. But no, because they need to find a way to be able to create a bunch of different skins to sell back to you, or to slap in a freaking battle pass, and because Fortnite is still super popular, they go for this overly cartoony, unrealistic look and feel because they can create wildly over-the-top cosmetics and skins, and it doesn't feel immersion breaking because there's no immersion to begin with. It's such a put-off for me. And I know this video does kind of sound like that one meme from The Simpsons, old guy yells at clouds, but like at the end of the day, I can only talk about what I prefer and my own personal preference, and why I've grown so sick of multiplayer competitive games ever since the mid-2010s. Because like I picked up on this stuff rather early on, and it just sickened me, and it just put me off pretty much multiplayer games overall, and I moved largely to single player or MMORPGs. And when I say multiplayer games, I mean specifically competitive multiplayer shooters. It was such a weird choice to end the Game Awards with Highguard, and I'm clearly not the only one that feels like this. Look all over the internet. You'll see people scratching their heads going, why did they do this again? Like, if this was announced somewhere in like the middle of the show, I don't think too many people would have cared, but it's just like the fact that this had so many eyes on it because it was the final game announcement, and the fact that it invoked Titanfall just to end up being another hero shooter that it feels like we see 5 times a year, it just serves to remind me once again why I'm just so sick and tired of multiplayer games nowadays. And I keep looking over at my monitor because I have the trailer running in the background here, and like the more I look at it, the more I'm like, oh, I recognize that from Overwatch. I can't speak for Marvel Rivals because I haven't played that game, because again, hero shooter is just like saying, hey, I got a steak for you, but I picked it up off the ground in a dumpster out back. I also liked how at the beginning of this trailer, this is another thing I started to find out with a lot of like these big hero shooters. When they first announced the game, they really try to get you to care about the world and some of the characters. And I'm like, oh, this could be a cool concept for like an RPG or for like a story or something. And then you find out it's a hero shooter and you know, oh, we're never gonna get anything with this. This won't go anywhere in any meaningful degree or in any interesting way. It's just an excuse to have all these characters look completely different to each other, together, be as colorful and cartoony as humanly possible so that we can sell a bunch of microtransactions to people. So any investment that they try to instill within me with the early announcement of this game, the same goes with like Concord as well. Because when they first announced Concord, I thought the cinematic looked okay, and I remember reacting to the Concord announcement with my chat because I was live streaming that showcase, right? And I'm like, oh, this world kind of looks okay. And then we got to the gameplay, and you could just feel the air deflate out of everyone, including myself. It's just, I got burned before with Overwatch. I shall not be hurt again. Hero shooters just as a concept, and multiplayer games overall like this, just aren't really good vessels of storytelling, at least in the style that they present themselves to be. It's like with Fortnite, you can kind of do it with the various chapters and some of the in-game events and stuff like that, but Fortnite's in-game storytelling is rather unique. I don't know, man, it's so disappointing to me whenever I have to like see another one of these potentially cool ideas for an in-game world and a story that could be told, just to be relegated to some trend-chasing hero shooter or extraction shooter or flavor of the month genre here. You see, the funniest outcome in all this would be if Highguard is actually a rather good game. And I'm also not gonna like pretend as if a game can't be popular by being a hero shooter. I mean, Marvel Rivals serves as the counter to any argument like that. But does anyone actually think Highguard is gonna be like Marvel Rivals? I mean, come on. Marvel Rivals had a lot going for it, and I just don't see that same thing happening here with Highguard. This feels more like Concord for me, and I know that's kind of sounds like the kiss of death. I really do hope multiplayer games can see a renaissance. I'm largely clocked out of them, but I can admit when one does good or actually looks good, like Battlefield 6 looked genuinely great. A lot of people clearly care about Arc Raiders. But it feels like the industry overall is just throwing so many things at the wall, and occasionally one or two of them may stick, like Battlefield or Arc Raiders. But when you are the wall, yeah, when one or two sticks, it can be kind of nice. But when you just get pelted repeatedly day after day with things being thrown at you that clearly aren't going to stick at the freaking wall, it gets tiring and annoying even when one or two do stick. Can we change our approach? Can we try something different and new and stop throwing out things that freaking feel the same as everything else that have come before, even if you mix it up a little bit? It's just not enough. You know those games that would be in the background of random crime dramas you used to watch in the 2000s and early 2010s? And they'd just be playing some random video game when they went to someone's house in the background, and you could never find out what game it was. That's the same energy Highguard gives off to me, because it kind of looks and feels like it'd be one of those games. I'll give it some credit, at least it looks better than Concord, right? I think it does look better than Concord. It looks more interesting, but I'm gonna make a few predictions, and in my heart of hearts, I want to be wrong. I just know that I'm not going to be. The game's big crippling flaws when it comes out are gonna be a lack of game modes and a lack of maps. I can just feel it. That, and maybe there's gonna be too few heroes. And the game's gonna come out with like 1, 2, 3 if we're lucky when it comes to game modes. People might get excited for a week and then it will die off. I want to be wrong, I just don't think I'm going to be.
Into lands uncharted.
You know people want Titanfall 3, so you invoke the name of Titanfall to announce a game that's going to look and feel and play nothing like it. Please make it make sense. That's all I'm asking. Please let it make sense. Well, here's where you come in. Leave a comment down below with your thoughts, your opinions on Highguard. Are you actually looking forward to it? Are you a big fan of games like this? And what do you think it is about games like Overwatch back in the day and Marvel Rivals, where it works for them, but not for a lot of these other games? I would love to hear your thoughts, hear your opinions, and hear your perspectives. And while you're down there, please leave a like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out and helps support future content, and I greatly appreciate it. And Claire Obscure Expedition 33 just won big at the Game Awards. Not only taking home Game of the Year, but a whole host of other awards as well. And if you click on this video right here, you're gonna find out why. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Stay safe, have a great day, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye everybody, until we meet again!